was only for the night.
We're riding around the world to road test Ruffly gear in the K9 Moto Cockpit and to raise $100,000 for Girl Up. Every 6 months we tackle a new challenge. First was the Arctic Ocean, then the Darien Gap, and now we're aiming for the bottom of South America.
My heart is home with you.
Hey guys, jumping in here to say that you might notice that some riding footage is missing from this episode and the next few to come. And that's because it got stolen, along with a whole bunch of other stuff. But I want you to enjoy today's episode because it's fantastic, and stay tuned to hear about the whole fiasco about what happened. This place had like a really great shower, where it was sort of enclosed on the side and a nice big wall and then a nice high wall on the other side. So I thought, great place to wash Whimsy. So yeah, I gave her a bath. It was good because I didn't have to put the shower on. The faucet was high enough that she could walk under it. I could just sort of move her around, manipulate her. And I did that. It was great. And then she shook and made a mess in the bathroom. So then I let her out. And Greg's outside sitting at the table working, and he watches, I'm sure, I didn't see this, but this is what I'm imagining. He watches her run out in excitement and come right over to the grass where they newly were trimming the grass, and she starts rolling around in it. Greg doesn't say anything, and she comes back in once I've come out of the bathroom after cleaning the mess that she's made, and she's green. So this beautiful dog that I wanted to have white for this section of the trip because she was looking pretty dirty now has like a tinge of like yellow green on her. So if you're seeing that, it's because Greg let her roll around in the cut grass. No rebuttal for Greg.
Rebuttal. I made no agreement, tacit or otherwise, to participate in the cleaning of this dog, nor the supervision or vigilance afterwards.
When I came out, Greg was like, you didn't tell me to shut the door. He knows he's supposed to shut the door after we bathe our dog because she wants to run outside and roll around.
I see bathing our white dog on a motorcycle trip as a futile attempt to fight, impending dirtiness. And I just have zero desire to actively participate in any way towards the very temporary completion of that mission.
This stretch, we were going to go through a national park, and I saw that there was this road that went through it. It looked really nice. This morning when I was just double checking the route, I saw it said something like tickets. And so it turned out like it's a true national park. It's not just a drive-through one. And you have to pay an entrance fee, which would be fine, except that they don't allow you to, one, drive your own vehicle in there, it looks like, which is a bit weird. You need a guide. And the other is obviously pets are not allowed. So we have to detour around the detour that I wanted to take into the park. So we're going to be going, I don't know how long it is, but a little bit on the 40 until we get to Rodeo. And then from Rodeo, we're going to go south on another dirt stretch, 123 kilometers. So a nice, another dirt stretch for us.
The purpose of this detour that we've identified is there is supposedly a monument to the gaucho on this road. There's also a gigantic Christ statue with open arms, but what's really attracting us is this monument to the gaucho. And the thing of that is that once we get to Mendoza, our sort of 3-day New Year project is to gaucho. We're going to get on horses. We are going to hoof, not paw and not foot, but hoof our way into the Andes for a several-day lope, a meander, like a gaucho would. Only not at all, only kind of. We've come across this embalse or reservoir along our route, and it has some access. Many of the signs all say that it is not appropriate for launching boats, and they're right, because it's basically just sort of a big gravel pit that's been dug out here. It's all loose shit. that's basically tumbling in, and there's water here. And it's really beautiful water. Whimsy has experimented and experienced it. And we're just using it as a cool-off before we reach the town of Rodeo, which is, of course, a great name, beyond which we get into another kind of dirt secondary road that could be anything. It's anybody's guess. And along that road is the monument to the Gaucho and also the giant statue of Christ with his arms open.
So I'm getting a few things at the mini mart, the very only one basically that's been open here in Rodeo. And we were going to start the dirt stretch, which is about 2.5 hours. But 3 o'clock and the rain is coming. And so maybe we're just going to take a little cabin in this town tomorrow morning, nice when it's a little bit cooler. Right now it's got up to like 36 degrees. Now it's about 30. So it'd be nice to go. It's nice in the morning, and then camp on the way towards Mendoza. You stay.
So just south of this town of Rodeo, we basically ran into a vicious storm that was hailing right in our faces and blasting us with wind and hail and rain and just bad vibe. And so it quickly became apparent that the storm was going to get us before we were going to get someplace with cabins or hotel or something, because there are a few little towns along the way.
And this is just on the route, maybe about 20 minutes before the dirt would start. And so we knew as we were getting out of this town that the storm was actually right in the path of that road. So we said, okay, let's go towards it. And if we start getting rained on, then we're going to have to turn back because we don't want to get soaked. We're not going to camp. And then we looked, there were a bunch of like little hotels and stuff, but you'd have to ride right through the storm to get to it.
Just out of reach.
Yeah.
Just out of reach as we're getting pelted. So we bugged out and we spent the next like 45 minutes visiting cabañas
Knocking on everyone's door.
that apparently are not like what we think they are. Cabañas or cabins, like, you know, standalone little units that you can stay in. But nobody was obliged. So we finally found this kind of cabañas, hotel, hostel, something that approximates what we would expect would be accommodations. And so we're here, and immediately Whimsy found a black cat and has now gone batshit bonkers trying to get it, while it just basically sneers at her from the roof. So we're each basically in our element with things to do. Dinner time for Whimsy. We've got her now on a twice-a-day meal regimen that I don't think she likes. And that seems to have every local coming in for their own meals. This guy's got a bad leg, so it hurts us. I'd frankly rather see a person with a bad leg. I've been a person with a bad leg, and it hurts me less than seeing a dog with a bad leg. But he's just laying down now, so I think we'll give him a little feed. And then the other one's around here somewhere. So we make friends everywhere we go, just not of the human sort. Now, in other news, big things are happening in terms of Whimsy's feeding. I have been on a kick for months and years, really, against Big Kibble, simply because I believe that they have convinced us through very clever marketing that the only appropriate and proper food for dogs is that which is ultra processed, that looks like little bones and little pebbles and little other things, and such that every dog owner says that, like, oh, this breed and that breed has sensitive stomachs, and it's because every breeder and every dog owner tells you, oh, well, you've got to feed them the same kibble, and if you change up the kibble, then they vomit, and they don't develop systems that can actually eat real food. And so now we've been giving Whimsy sardines and tuna and various lovely things.
Greg still feeds her off the table, but like now I am supplementing her food. I still give her some kibble. The issue was that the kibble was really like poor quality in some of these.
It's very
towns.
convenient. That goes without saying. It's convenient. It's necessary. That's fine. It's just not real food.
Yeah, and then unless you're in a big city that has the variety and the quality of kibbles out there, then you're basically just buying junk food for your dog. Yeah. So I try and limit that and instead substitute with some fish and some meat and stuff like that, so that she can still stay healthy and lean. And we're feeding her enough for the day and all the activity that she does.
Take that, big kibble.
Hi guys, thanks for watching Go Ruffly in real time. If you love Whimsy's gear, head on over to GoRuffly.com and check out our collars, leashes, beds, bandanas, and more for your dog and all the dogs that you know. And if you're interested in the K9 Moto Cockpit, which is how Whimsy rides with me on the back of my motorcycle, you'll get all that information about sizing, mounting, and everything else at GoRuffly.com. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe.